Joining me now from Frankfort is Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear. Thank you, Governor, for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
Governor, let's talk first about what many are calling a very successful rollout of the vaccine in the Commonwealth. You're very close to reaching 1 million inoculations. What remains the biggest challenges on that road to immunity?
Well, first, let's acknowledge how exciting this is. After a year and about a week of this pandemic, we can see a bright light at the end of the tunnel. We are vaccinating people faster than the federal government can give us doses. We are setting records of people vaccinated every week with, I think, over 120,000 individuals this last week getting their first shot of hope. It is really exciting. More than a quarter of the eligible population has now been vaccinated, and we are just seeing the pace increase and increase and increase. Challenges we face right now are two. Number one, building out the infrastructure. We currently have over 500 different locations where people can get vaccinated. And we've got to continue to grow that. But the main challenge is supply. Everybody's ready to get vaccinated right now. Everybody is ready to move out of this pandemic. And we're getting, about 100,000 first doses each week. And that's great. That's a whole lot more than we were getting just a couple of months ago. But what it means is it's going to take some time to vaccinate everybody. Now, it's going to pick up a lot right at the end of this month. It's going to pick up a whole lot in April. And what we believe now is that every adult Kentuckian who wants to be vaccinated can get that shot by the end of May. That's really exciting.
Governor, you mentioned every adult that wants to get vaccinated. Are you seeing a lack of buy-in when it comes to rural communities? We are hearing from people in those areas that continue to mistrust the development of a vaccine or simply don't think they need one.
Well, right now, we are still seeing all across Kentucky a demand for vaccine that exceeds the supply. In every rural area where we have a vaccine site, every time we open up appointments, they immediately get booked. Now, is there some hesitancy out there? Yes, it's across Kentucky. It's in different groups. But right now, what I mainly see is those folks saying, I want to wait and I want to see. I don't want to be the first person to get vaccinated. And what we've seen with several groups is as we go, people move from being a little worried to willing to do it, to excited, maybe even a little impatient about how long it's taking to get the vaccine. So I think we're going to see a lot of movement. The other thing that's happening now is the CDC is giving us new guidance on what you can do if you're fully vaccinated with other fully vaccinated individuals. And what it's saying is you can get back to normal a whole lot faster if you're willing to get the vaccine.
Governor, let's look ahead past the pandemic. It seems like by the second half of this year, you may be able to focus on something other than COVID-19 for really, as you mentioned, the first time since you took office. What are you looking forward to getting back to addressing? What's topping the agenda?
Well, even with this pandemic, we haven't taken our eye off the ball on economic development. With some exciting announcements, we had over $2.5 billion of investment last year, even in the midst of a pandemic, and we had the second highest wage that the new jobs we announced are going to pay to Kentuckians, but that's certainly at the top of the list. A lot of exciting opportunities out there. You see what the automotive industry is going through and large potential investments that are out there. We want to continue to focus on health care, which is a basic human right. We've gotten a lot of people signed up for health care during this pandemic, and it's worked. What we saw is disproportionate death that we were able to reduce and even eliminate, and providing health care has meant that we have lost fewer people than many states. Ensuring our rural hospitals are healthy because the access there has never been more critical. Ensuring every Kentuckian gets access to a world-class education. That's our efforts to rebuild schools. We put $100 million in our budget to do that because so many of them are crumbling. Of creating the Better Kentucky Promise, which would help 6,300 Kentuckians get their associate's degree or a skilled certificates. Finally, reinvesting in higher education, which has been cut or flatlined for so long, and we have got to get more people graduating with a 4-year degree to compete for so many of these jobs. You know, there's so much opportunity. And when something like COVID comes along, it changes the world after it for good. And so the post-COVID economy is going to be different than the pre-COVID economy. This is a chance for us, a chance for Kentucky to leap forward, to be a leader in areas like agritech and aerospace, a chance for us to attract jobs that might not have ever looked at us before, but now, in a world where density isn't as good or as important, you know, we can truly compete. The question is, are we going to be bold? Are we going to have a budget? Are we going to use the American Recovery Act money to truly push us forward and make generational investments? Or are we just going to simply sit back and watch others, you know, get ahead of us? Now's the time we decide whether we're FDR or Herbert Hoover. And I think if we have the courage to make those investments right now, we can change the course of our history for the better.